What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Burndown YouTube channel. We are back on the Maliboom. Woo! Today is a beautiful day. If you've been following along in the videos, we freshened up the transmission. We basically kind of went through it, and then I found a seal that was broken, and we checked some measurements, and we adjusted the end play. Put that bad boy all back together. I got a new reverse clutch in it. We tore the motor down. The number 5 rod bearing was pretty much toast, so we had the crank straightened, had that thing turned. New rod and main bearings. The cam bearings look decent. Technically I didn't look at them, so don't tell the motor. We put that all back together. We put the sloppy new cam, the best camshaft in it, so it should make better potato sound than I had the Summit Stage 2. And we'll test those back to back. Hopefully we'll schedule some dyno time and then we'll run the same numbers and just see how the best cam does versus the Summit Stage 2. And then up to this point, just a quick synopsis, we landed the drivetrain doing like an hour a day over this past week. So now it is Saturday and I got all day to play with my car, but I really don't want to get in a hurry. It's really easy because we kind of see the light at the end of the tunnel, but I'm going to do my due diligence. I'm going to put hands on all the stuff I put on this week because working an hour a day, it's kind of like in a rush. So I'm in a faster mode. So I'm going to make sure all this stuff that I put in is tight and is in place because I can see now. Half the time I was working kind of in the dark with my headlamp. So we'll put hands on that. I've got the battery charger already rolling on this guy. So we got it on trickle charge. That way when we get to the end, I'm not like, oh, I don't have a battery to start the thing. So we got this process started. And then I also got a little table set up. We'll throw some tools and stuff on. So we just got to pull the hood. And we're going to get cranking on this thing. We'll see how far we can get today, but I'm going to spend all day, probably until the sun goes down, honestly. But we'll stuff as many parts on here as possible. And hopefully this weekend, we can hear the potato sound from the world's best LS camshaft. Let's get rolling. Okay, I noticed something. So we got this thing buttoned down, and typically I would put hardware in here and then button stuff down, and I had pretty good exhaust leaks. So what I did this go around is I bolted them down here, snug those down, and now this doesn't want to line up unless I'm pulling it real hard that way, which obviously it's pushing everything out. So I think what we'll do is we'll take this off and we'll open these holes up. And I don't think I need a bunch. I figure if I just get this one and this one, you know, just the two, I don't think I need all 4. So we'll go to the bottom and top. I'll mark these, we'll open them up. And then that way, this thing doesn't have any force and it's gonna hold it where it is instead of pushing it that way. The other thing too is, I don't know, man, this thing, I didn't know it was this far forward. So I think before we get too carried away, I might test fit those guys, and it's not looking promising. That doesn't look like a lot of room. So maybe we won't get as far as we were hoping to today, but we'll see. We'll keep rolling. Before I take this thing off and get too carried away, I'm looking at this exhaust and I'm just in, I don't want to say a panic, but I don't know if it's gonna fit. That thing's sitting there, the space is open. I might as well get disappointed now. Better than getting disappointed later on, right? Let's try this thing. Pray for me. Please fit, please fit, please fit, please fit, please fit. Oh, oh, oh. All right, the Eagle has landed. We're close, boys. We are close, but it ain't touching, so I'm gonna call it a win. And then obviously this wiring, we're gonna, you know, I think we can tuck that up a bit better. This is gonna be my big concern. Maybe we can even pull it out and kind of, I don't know. Maybe we'll have to put some wrap on this just for safety concerns, not as much to hide the ugly. But you know what? It's in there. This thing isn't all the way forward. And like I said, I still got like a 3/4 inch if I had to take that out, that I could scoot this. So I guess we'll see. We'll figure that out when the time gets there. Maybe I'll put some wrap. They make some lava wrap or whatever. We'll get that around the plugs or wires or something. But you know what? The thing fits in there and it's blowing air. It'll just blow air on the pipe and cool itself off so it doesn't melt, right? That's my, yeah, that's thinking. So I'm happy about that. That's a lot of stress off the heart. Let's keep rolling. Anybody that knows me knows I hate drilling holes, and I'd rather pull out the glue gun. So I cut this off, stuck it on here, bolted everything back down tight, there and there, and then we will just glue this guy where it's resting, and that should take care of the problem. So the other thing too is these are the cheaper V-bands, so I think I gotta look into getting better ones. Like these little nuts are already loose. I can finger tight them, they're supposed to be locking. So I think too, maybe I'll find something we can double nut these so they don't back off. But yeah, I'll have to get some better ones. The nicer clamps or something at some point. So, all right, let's keep on motivating. Oh. Landed. We got this dude in place. It's just snugged down. This thing is dirty as all get out. I know it's not necessary, but if I don't do this now, I'm never gonna do it. So I'm gonna take the cover loose. We'll pull this off. I'm gonna wipe all that down. This thing just has, you know, over 1,000 miles worth of crap in here, and I ran it open like that. So I just wanna wipe it down and yeah, give it a little love. Because once it's put together, you know, we're just gonna ignore it unless it's an issue, because that's how we roll. But bolted down, got this dude tacked up on there. And she said this is snug. This line is on. I got a fancy hard line that goes to my feed for the turbo. And we will keep rolling. Let me pull this off, wipe it up, and then I will consult the list of things to do. I think fuel lines are next, and then the drain to this guy. All right, we have the intake manifold set in place. And then I had these wrong. I had them back here. That's why it looked weird. But now with everything in place, the little jumper deals kind of make sense. And then they keep everything rigid here, and then they flex down there. So let me get these guys kind of tightened on down, and we will keep on motoring. Now I gotta get my wire harness kind of where it goes, because there's a plug underneath here for my air intake temperature sensor. I don't know if you can see it. I plumbed it down there, so it's hard to get to. So I think I might, before I button this down, kind of wrap stuff where it goes so I can lift it up and plug that one in before we zip those guys down. This is a pro tip for anybody that's on the Holley EFI, the Terminator X. So there's two of these. They're supposed to go to your cylinder head. These are your coil grounds. So there's one on either side, and it says connect it to the head. So see how this is a little mucked up, like it's a little dirty? I'm gonna go ahead and clean this with a little piece of sandpaper. And then I did the same on the bolts that connect that. So I might wipe them down and do a little bit better job on these guys. Maybe even like a wire wheel, because I want to get these clean, because if that doesn't have a good connection, it'll kill like a whole bank of cylinders. So make sure that that one is good to go, and then maybe chase the threads on the heads. Make sure you have a good ground for these guys, because you'll chase your tail. I put this in here early on, and I was just real sloppy with stuff, and I think I had an issue. But I know for sure when I did the Bago, everything was running, everything was good, and then all these cylinders dropped out, and I was scratching my head. I couldn't figure it out. So that ended up being the culprit on both occasions. So be mindful of those wires, because those are one of the ones that'll bite you if you don't pay attention. We're making good progress, but before we get too far ahead, we need to install the push rods. Courtesy of War Performance, we're going to throw these in with the rocker arms. Then I can button the valve covers down. I don't have to worry about it. We can just keep assembling. But right now is a good stopping point to open these awesome dogs and drop them in, put the rockers on. Life will be good. I guess now I got a fancy box for my old push rods, huh? Nice having a bag up there. Woo, bubble wrap and everything. Wow, fancy. So, yep. So typically, if you were going to install your old push rods, you'd want to take them, find a flat surface and roll them. Make sure nobody's bent, make sure they're happy. kind of look through them, maybe blow through them, you know, whatever suits your fancy. But let's go drop all these things in. We're getting there. All right, here they are in place. Torque down 22 foot-pounds on both sides. I know I'm gonna get the question on what length push rod did I actually go with. And because I'm not sure 100% of this works until we fire this thing up and run it and do all that fun stuff, I'm not really gonna answer it because you need to do your own homework, because your application could technically be different. If I give you the size and you go and get it and it doesn't work, or if I fire this up and it doesn't work, I was wrong. So I'm not 100%. So until this thing actually runs, you know, and if it does, it works good, I'll let you guys know what I end up using for this application. We got injectors wired, everything pretty well plugged in. I got to do everything underneath, so we'll get to that. I still need the starter and all that fun stuff. I got transmission linkage. I don't want to crawl underneath right now, but we got everything pretty well hooked up. I got this thing tightened down. We can't really tighten this until we get the hoses and stuff here, and then these lines are in their proper position. Now that makes sense why it is the way it is, and then these are all nice and tight. I got to snug this guy down, make sure these guys are snug. So we'll hit all these. Liar. So that one's not tight, but we'll hit these again, make sure they're good. And then I think we're gonna start messing with the brackets. So we are getting a little long into the afternoon, and I got a belt. So before I tell you the belt story, I wanna show you this. Bam! It is on, and it is looking spicy. Look at that. Look at all the pink and pink. And somebody else is wondering if I still had pink bits on here. Yes, I got that. That's from the original. That's like my OG water pump. So this is the bracketry setup. It looks awesome, but the problem I had is I got belts here, I got this belt, and then we had to get another belt. And then a quick funny story with the belt. I gave it to a guy that was a kid over there, just helped me out, and he went back and measured it, and it was 74 1/4. So he brings me the next size up. It was 75 1/4, because I'm like, man, we're almost there. Just give me the next size up. We should be good. So he rings me up, and my spidey sense started tingling. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to throw down the scientific method on this thing. So I open it up and put my foot through it. He's like, oh, the foot method. And I pull on it, and it was the same size belt. It was marked on the box 75 1/4, but it measured out the same size as the belt he measured on the little machine. So lucky enough, I saved myself an additional trip. So we got another belt. So you guys can bear with me. We'll try to fit it on here right now. Wish me luck. And I'd like to get something done. So this thing, let's see, we're gonna route it down and around and underneath. And of course I've got, like I said, 4 or 5 belts, and then Jason from War even sent me an extra belt to get me in the ballpark. And of course that didn't work either, because race car, right? So now, all right, I think we're, man, this thing is looking pretty similar too as far as size goes. Maybe because it's just new. All right, oh, go on. Bam, bam. Woohoo! Check that out. So it keeps it off the heat. We got a little bit of a gap. You know, we got a hand in there. Again, I can throw a little wrap around this guy if I have to. Probably make it look better anyway. I should probably wrap it. Not so much for the aesthetics, but to keep it off the radiator and keep it off the alternator. But yeah, all in all, I think we're pretty good. Well, this is what happens when you get sidetracked and you don't finish a job. It basically holds you up. So we're pretty far along on this guy, but I don't want to move forward without fitting the radiator. Now that I have the bracketry and I've got the pump in, I'd like to put the radiator in place, and then we can make sure all this other stuff fits. I have it over here. I washed it all off. So literally this is just a matter of bolting this stuff on. It really doesn't take any time at all. But the shroud, so this thing, if you watch the video, I mounted these dogs on here, and then it was late at night and I was kind of thrashing to show you guys what it's basically gonna be. Well, I gotta trim this back in here because the fans actually hit so they don't spin. A little movie magic. I know you guys are disappointed, but I just have to mark it and cut it. That's why this thing's clecoed on, it's not riveted down yet. And then I want to make sure that these have washers and that the hardware is good. And then somebody else mentioned this too, but I did see it, the petcock needs to be clearance, so this thing will spin. Oh, technically, yeah. So we just have to clearance that. So I'm gonna spend some time. We're gonna line this thing out and get it riveted down. Not gonna beat you guys up with that too much. And then when we slide it in the car, I think that's probably gonna take us to the end of the day. The sun's kind of peeking back already where it normally is. And geez, like I told you guys before, I want my phone to stop making noise. What I want to do is not get in a hurry and just double check stuff. So I've been going through moseying, making sure things are tight. So we'll get here, we'll see where we're at. And again, I don't want to get too ahead of myself. If I can get to where everything's kind of in, cool. You know, if not, we'll call it good. Tomorrow's another day, but I feel good about it. And I don't want to get too far ahead of myself and mess something dumb up. So that way, when we fire it, we're looking for oil pressure and fuel pressure, normal stuff, and just normal leaks, but hopefully we don't have any of those issues. So I'll bring you back with however far we get. Well, it's dark out. The sun went down on me, and I was playing with this thing, but we got it. It's spin free, both of them. I had to add some little spacers. I was cutting and grinding, making a mess over there. It just takes forever, but we were good. This wiring, they come out of these little arms over here, so I can probably pull it out and then zip tie it along here or something, keep it off the heat. And then I gotta figure out where we're running all the wires and all that fun stuff. Probably take it around like we did in the Bago to the starter or something, but we'll see how we go. So we got the belt in, we got this in, at least it fits. And then I'm hoping everything kind of goes across. You know, this guy goes to here, boost goes down there, and then up and around. We got the pipes and all the stuff that we should be able to put in. But yeah, I still never even tightened this. That's pretty funny. I'm just gonna leave it wide open because otherwise I'm gonna think that it's actually tight. So that way I don't trick myself, right? So we will do that as a reminder, and then this is where we're gonna end for today. That's it. We gave it the college try. I'm tired. I gotta clean up. We got tomorrow. I'll have to decide what we're working on tomorrow, but we'll keep plugging along. We should be able to start that thing pretty soon, so I'm feeling pretty good about it. But yeah, I'm tired. See what the fam wants to do. Go eat some dinner. Tomorrow is a new day. You guys have to do like, subscribe, share. Thank you for following along. I'm out.